Hi. Recording. Can you tell me your first and last name? Spell your first and last name for me.
Casey Craig, Kaceycraig.
Okay.
So we're just asking really kind of informal questions, kind of like we did with the playwrights.
Yep.
So what does...
Jessica, I'm going to need you right here.
Right here. Can you see me?
Well, if you're there, she looks...
Right at the
that way.
camera. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Look.
Okay. Is that still good?
Yeah.
Okay.
Good.
Okay. So what has it been like to be a playwright and now you're moving into the actor role, being on stage?
It's been fun. It's bigger than I expected. I wasn't really an actor very much when I was writing the play, but it seemed like a good opportunity to get a hands-on experience and actually perform what I had spent so much time writing. And it's been good to get to know the other actors as well and know what their personality is actually going in to become the characters that I created. It's fun to see.
And how would you say that this experience of being an actor in the production is different from your experience as a playwright and that group dynamic?
I would have to say before it was a lot of us going in and saying, hey, this is what we want to do, and I'd been writing before, so I knew really what I wanted to hear and what I wanted to see, but as I said before, I was new to acting, so I don't really know how to stand, how to position myself, how to look like I'm actually in the scene. So it was great to learn that and just the unfamiliarity. So.
And what is your role, and can you tell us a little bit about your character?
So my role is Avery. It was actually the role I wanted, so that was a good thing. She's very sarcastic and very witty. She is more on the mean side, but her character does grow during the performance. So at the end, she changes and accepts that what she did was wrong. And I think I see a lot of myself in her at the same time with our humor, the witty, and I find myself very witty too, so.
Awesome. And then what do you hope that the audience gains from seeing this performance?
I hope that adults learn that, you know, kids actually do go through things, and a lot of times we're written off as, oh, we just sit on our phones all day, we just do this, and that we actually are going through things in school that they may not know about. And teenagers or kids or people my age, I want them to know that they're not alone and that other people also experience things that are uncomfortable at school, and that it's okay to be yourself.
What scene in the play do you think is the pinnacle scene of the play?
The pinnacle scene of the play.
The most important.
I guess it would have to be the scene where I think it's the scene where Leif comforts Anna. I forget which number that is, but I think at one point he says that it's not just being outed as gay that's the issue here. It's just being in an uncomfortable situation, and I think that it really brings in a lot more of the audience members. It makes it more relatable that even if you're not being outed at school as being gay, that you may go through something that is uncomfortable, and it's kind of the same feelings that you get. So.
Any questions, Nancy? I think you're doing beautifully.
Thank you.
I think that's good. Do you have any questions?
No, I think we're good.
All right.
I think we're good.
Casey,
Thanks.
So, I'm Jessica. We've never met before. I'm
Yeah,
from
we
the
haven't.
Cultural Arts Division and the City of Farmington Hills Youth Theater. So we're
Okay.
glad to have you on board. And we just want to ask just a few questions. We're doing a promo video to help get this going. So,
Okay.
how did you find out about the Farmington Hills Youth Theater and the show?
Well, I've had friends involved with, some of the past musicals, like I think they did Seussical and Music Man and all those, and then I started taking voice lessons from Bethany over the summer, and I was looking for something to do that wouldn't be too much of a time commitment that I could, put on a potential resume. And she said they needed somebody for the show Anna Paints Trees that was tall. So I joined, yeah.
Fantastic. And what does it feel like to be a part of a play that's never been done before?
It's fun being in, rehearsal because, it's mostly little kids who goof around. I guess I would say, I mean, I don't really know what I would say to describe it. You never really know what could happen to it, so I guess, you don't know, but I don't know if there ever are other productions of this. It'd be interesting to see how different they make it.
And so what has it been like coming into the production, having very little background in terms of what the character you're playing is supposed to be like, and really having that freedom to kind of make him your own?
One thing that was a little strange for me was a Ukrainian, I guess Ukrainian American accent, which all I do is I try to channel my Tata from Ragtime, who is, I think he's actually Latvian, but it's so yeah, it's definitely weird to be doing something like this for the first time, especially a brand new script, but it's exciting, yeah.
And what are you hoping that the audience leaves with?
I hope that they enjoy the show and don't feel too uncomfortable with the younger kids talking about some more adult topics. But yeah, I think it's a fun show, and yeah, I hope they like it.
What has the content of the show meant to you?
I can't really relate too much, just because I've never had friends who deal with a lot of drama, or I never get really involved with drama, although I definitely hear about some stuff from the more popular people at school. So I don't know, I guess this is interesting to see. I'm assuming what people on the outside would kind of see as happening with more modern issues in school.
And so some of the playwrights are actually part of the cast. What has it been like to have the opportunity to act alongside the people that created it?
I actually didn't know that till recently. I guess that would be kind of, I guess that would make me kind of nervous to maybe that they had different vision for what, the person would look like, who, the character I'm playing would look like, or what they would sound like. And, but it's still, they have me, so I guess it's just trying my best, and if they felt like they needed something more, they would tell me, so.
Can I ask something? Can you describe a moment that was your favorite through the process so far? You can take a minute and start whenever you're ready, but just like one specific moment that really stood out to you.
Something that I really liked, you'll probably remember and know what I'm talking about immediately, is we were blocking a scene on Monday, I think it was, about there was supposed to be a conversation between two of the 12-year-olds who are playing, or 12 or 13-year-olds who are playing seniors or juniors in high school, where they talk about a foot fetish and getting off to Justin Bieber, and we were able to talk our way out of, oh, maybe instead of talking about a foot fetish, we say, oh, something about an extra toe, something that doesn't have to change the subject completely, but it doesn't have to be 12-year-olds talking about fetishes. So that's a lot of, I thought that was a little fun because we got to kind of we had a lot of fun with thinking of ideas too to replace it, but it was nice, and I felt really included that my input was used.
I'm going to just give myself a certificate of that.
Okay, could you tell me your first and last name, spell your first and last name for me?
Gracie Hershey, Gracy Hershey.
are one of the playwrights, and you're also one of the actors in the show. Can you tell me about how the experiences differ from one another?
Well, with the playwriting, you kind of have this exact vision of how it's actually going to turn out, and it's always 100% different from the actual acting because there's so many things that I just never would have thought of when actually writing the scenes that our amazing directors came up with. And so it's really crazy to be able to like think about it from a different perspective than what we've all had, because we all kind of, as writers, had the exact same perspective, and then like on stage, it's completely different.
So is there one scene in particular that you envisioned one way and is completely different from what you had always envisioned?
The scenes with classrooms I always envisioned differently because I just thought that they'd be like in a row or in a U of chairs chilling, but the directors made a really creative like zigzag pattern for the desks to be in and everything where you could see everyone, but it wasn't just like a straight line because that's kind of boring. And so it was really cool to see that instead of just a straight line or like a U.
And can you tell us a little bit about your role and how that role has potentially changed from when you were part of the writing team versus when you're the one actually bringing that role to stage?
Well, I play the role of JC, who is the stereotypical kind of Mean Girls villain. I think that when we were writing her, we kind of inspired her based off of Regina George because she literally does a Regina George style action for the big grand climax. And so that character, you know, just a lot of fun in general, but when we were writing it versus when I'm actually doing it, it was completely different because we just imagined her in the writing process up until the very, very end, like 2 days before auditions. We imagined her as just, you know, stereotypical mean girl, mean because she's mean sort of thing, but then on like the very last day before auditions and before everything got ready and before rehearsals started, we kind of added extra details to make her more of a character and less of like an archetype. And so having her actually be more well-developed than we actually imagined is kind of great. It's just like a thing that I never would have expected because I kind of thought that we were just going to keep her a stereotype, but she's so much more than that now, which is a lot of fun for me to play.
Jacob had asked Casey this question, and I thought it was a good question. What do you think is the pinnacle part of the story? What do you think is the most important moment in the whole show?
I think that the most important moment in the whole show is the very last scene, because in that scene, everything feels like it's, because like at the very beginning of the last scene, everything feels like it's healing up. Anna's just gonna kind of disappear and kind of leave because of what happened to her, and everyone else is just going to go on with their lives with no sort of repercussions or even a second afterthought. But then they change, and it shows like human growth and how people, even when they're set with a certain idea and principle, how they can change their ideas. Just one little thing can change it. Like they see the tree that Anna painted, and it actually makes them feel remorse, and it makes them feel bad enough to want to make things right, and it makes them try to change their point of view because this person that they care about is different than what they expected and wanted, and they're finally learning to change, and it shows that people can change, and that when they do change, it's not always worse.
So you are less than a month out from the show hitting the stage. What is your proudest moment to date, whether it's part of the writing or acting?
My proudest moment was when we were all kind of, this is going to kind of sound a little bit dumb, but it was when we were all just kind of together as actors after one of the rehearsals, and we were just all chit-chatting about like what we were going to do for the show, because we're kind of becoming a little bit more than just actors. We're adding different things to the show that would be something that is solely the prop department. Like we're gonna make posters to put on the set that represent the school to make it feel like a school, and that it's a really small moment, but I thought that was my proudest moment because I don't usually as a person do that sort of like community thing. Like once rehearsal's over, I'm on my phone in the corner of the auditorium because I don't stay with one group, I move around. And so for me personally, it was a proud moment because I didn't isolate myself and I didn't just kind of hide from everyone else. I just kind of like opened up to do stuff with people, and it was good for me.
What do you want the audience to leave with?
I want them to leave with, I want them to like feel a little bit kind of like a twinge of bittersweetness, but I also want them to leave with kind of feeling that people, yeah, they're different, but it's not a thing that we need to be mean about and that we need to patronize people about, and that just because a person is different doesn't mean that they're not the person that you thought that they're not the person that you still knew.
That's awesome.
Going through the whole process, writing, acting, props and everything, has this changed anything that you want to do in the future?
I always kind of was, previously to this, been kind of bridging the gap between wanting to be what full-fledged actor or full-fledged backstage, because that's how they always make it feel like you can't do both. But doing this show made me want to do both. I wanted to be able to do it from start to finish, because yeah, you're gonna go run through some frustrations because one, group work is hard, and two, everyone has different ideas of what's supposed to happen and we all have to collaborate. But like throughout the process from start to finish, it's a really magical experience and I'm so glad I got to be a part of with this show.
So I have one more question that I didn't ask Casey, because you two are the only ones that are the playwrights in the show, right?
There's one more girl, Kenya, but she I think is on
Kenya,
a school trip right now.
What message do you have for the playwrights that are not acting in the show about what they can expect to see on stage?
Well, what they can expect to see on stage, it's still what we wanted, but there have been changes made because some of them weren't able to make it to different revision sessions and everything, but it's still what you wanted and it's still what you envisioned. It's just different, so don't immediately be like hostile towards it, because I remember when I saw like a cast of 80% 12-year-olds, I like lost it there for a second, because I was like, dang, we're gonna have to change so much, but hey, we didn't change so much. And so even though the cast may look young and the stage and the setting may not look how you imagined, the play is still what you wanted it to be, and it still has that core message that we talked about for the months that we wrote it.
So are you more nervous to perform in front of the audience or your fellow playwrights?
I'm not nervous about that. I just for some, like I'm the kid that gets nervous during auditions but not during the actual show. Like I'm the person that's the understudy, because if you gave me a week to prepare, I'd be like, let's go. So I'm not nervous about any of it except the fact that this is like my biggest part I've ever had, because it's like 73 lines. My previous maximum amount of like stage time before that was 25. And so I'm just nervous about the quantity, but overall when it comes to performing in front of like the audience and in front of my fellow playwrights, I feel confident with it because I still love this project even going through all its process, and I know I have a feeling that they are going to as well, and I also think the audience will too.
And what are you personally taking away? We've talked about what we want the audience to take away, etc. What are you personally taking away from the experience?
I'm taking away the importance of like not isolating yourself and of being around other people, because I previously I used to be like anti-group work, anti-collaboration, anti-trying to develop friends because I feel like they were going to abandon me. But I know throughout this process that they don't, because these people that I bonded with for playwrights, I'll talk to them for like 3 minutes outside of a rehearsal or on Snapchat and the bond is still there, you know? So it's still kind of like I don't have to be by myself, and I don't have to keep doing that. Even if I do move to like 4 different theater groups a year, it's still there for me, you know?
Anything else you want to tell us?
I'm okay right now.
You are. Yeah. You're wonderful.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, could you spell your first and last name for me?
INDIADARLING.
All right. Yep. So, India, is this your first show with the Farmington Hills Youth Theater?
No,
What other shows have you done?
I've done Beauty and the Beast.
Oh, you did. What role were you?
I was an enchanted servant.
Fantastic. And what is your role in Anna Paints Trees?
I play Emma, Anna's younger sister.
Okay. And what about that character are you enjoying?
I just like how she's kind of a nice, supportive sister to Emma, and she kind of stands up for her, tries to make her feel better.
What about the story of the play is your favorite?
I kind of like how it's just it's okay to be gay, and that you're always going to have good, supportive friends.
What do you hope the audience will take away and the night of the performance?
That high school is pretty rough, but you can get through it.
So you're not in high school yet,
Mm-mm.
but do you expect that some of those challenges will be the same, or do you experience any of them in junior high?
No, I don't experience much, but I expect high school to be a little tricky, so
Yeah.
a couple struggles.
Do you think that being in this play and becoming friends and working with high schoolers through this, do you feel like you might have a better grasp of high school when it comes along?
Yeah, maybe.
Do you enjoy, it's like a, like an interview here, we got three people all
You're interesting, what can we say?
So do you enjoy developing your own character? Because the plays you've done before, you know, if you do, like Shrek's going on right now,
Yeah.
everybody's seen the movie Shrek, so we kind of know what his background is, where you're free to do what you want.
Yeah, I like having kind of an open experience to do whatever I want. Not whatever I want, but stuff with the character that's really fun and
So
places.
what's your favorite scene that you performed, and why?
I like the beginning scene because it's kind of just getting to know the relationship between Anna and Emma, and it's kind of fun sister scene.
Can you kind of just go into a little bit more, just kind of paint me a picture what the scene's like, and then what's going on?
So, Anna's telling Emma, Emma's telling Anna to get ready for school, and she's in her room painting, and they're just having this conversation about is the new school going to be as bad as the old school, and oh, you still won't tell me what happened, and so, yeah.
Who do you think should see this show? Like,
What do you
who
mean by
think
that?
would really benefit from the message?
I'm not sure what you mean by that.
No, you're okay. What do you want people to leave feeling or learning?
Pretty much that, you're gonna have friends, sometimes your friends can turn on you, but it's all gonna work out in the end, and just gotta get through it. It's gonna be good.
All right, great job.
Thank you.
Is that blue too close to green, or are we fine? I think we're
No, we're good. Could you spell your first and last name for me?
ELLAFRIED.
Okay. Ella, you are no stranger to the Farmington Hills Youth Theater, and we love when you are part of our productions. Anna Paints Trees is a little bit different than what you're used to. Can you talk about how this experience has been different than, say, Shrek or Beauty and the Beast, etc.?
Well, it doesn't have any music in it. Well, it does have sound effects, but it doesn't have any songs. It's a play, not a musical. And also, it's for older kids, and I'm one of the youngest people. And the concept is more, like, it's about high school, and then Shrek is about a bunch of fairy tale creatures. And so it's more advanced, and I don't understand, like, everything in there. And so there are funny things but like it's more serious than some of the other plays I've been in that have been like fun and dancey and stuff.
And so what has that been like to have that challenge? How's it challenged you?
When we were doing the script read, and then I didn't know how to say words, and I didn't know what like some things meant, people were laughing at me. I just laughed with them, but still, it was sort of hard. And like I'm acting as a senior, and I'm in 7th grade, so I don't really know what it's like to be in high school. So it's different.
And What would you say is the key message about Anna Paints Trees?
You should accept everybody for who they are. Not like if somebody is like gay or something, you shouldn't change your opinion about them. And there are more, like, if you should also think about how your actions may impact other people. If you want to get revenge on someone by spreading their secret around school, that's probably not a good idea, because they would get really upset, and it wouldn't just impact them, it would impact everybody. And yeah, that would all make like a big thing instead of just one little problem.
And so who do you think could benefit the most from watching this performance?
People who are probably in high school who are like struggling with, they might not be confident in who they are, or they might not know, like, if other people are being mean to them, or even the people who are like JC and Anna Paints Trees, who are sort of the bully, they could benefit from this by deciding to change what they would want to do, and the people who are like me, Anna, they might find some ideas of how to get through the hard time, or like how to help other people if it's like their friend.
So can you tell us a little bit about Anna? You play the lead in the play. Can you tell us a little bit about Anna and what her character is like, and what you have crafted her to be like?
Anna is she is like an individual person. She's very artsy, and I don't think the fact that she's gay has anything to do with who she is, but other people are making it into a really big deal. And Anna can be funny, and she's really kind and considerate to other people's feelings. And of course she can get upset when other people are talking about how she's gay, and it's like it's a bad thing.
With the play, what do you feel is the most important scene that you have? Can you describe a little bit and then just tell us why?
I think the most important scene is when everybody comes and confesses about when they come and apologize to Anna, and then Anna apologizes to them, because everybody tells their side of the story, and it like sums everything up when everybody knows how everybody's been feeling, and so you know why people did what they did. And so, because it sort of gets a feeling like you feel accomplished, like everything, like if something was pulling you down, like I really need to apologize for this, it just happened, and you feel safe, like nobody's gonna really do anything that bad again.
And what has this experience taught you about yourself?
It's taught me that like not all plays are like little children's plays, and I've learned I can be myself more, and I've learned about more advanced concepts in this play. And yeah, it's mostly it.
Another question. Is it important that plays take on social issues?
Yes, because if people can see something like that actually happening, and they can watch it and see everybody's different perspectives with real people, it makes them maybe feel more comfortable about those things if they're happening at their school, because you actually get to see it happening.
Do you have a message for the parents that will be in the audience?
Maybe the parents can get to learn more how the kids feel, so they won't get super mad at them if they understand what they're going through in high school and others, like in school, mostly with their friends.
So one other question, how is it working with the actual playwriters? So they came together, they've had a vision of what Anna is. You have a vision of what Anna is. How is it working together?
Well, in the script I see Anna, and I shape Anna, me being Anna based off of what's in the script. So I think it's working well together. When I see the script, I see how they picture Anna, and how I picture Anna is mostly similar to that, and I just like go with the flow, how I think I should do something, and then it just happens.
Because you have very good instincts.
Thank you.
Okay, we're good.
Wonderful.
Awesome.
Is that really that bad?
I didn't get a kindergarten graduation. I'm kind of mad that they're doing that now, because I did not get that.
I didn't get that either.
What the heck?
Like, I got a
Legit.
5th grade graduation.
There you go.
Can you tell me your first and last name, spell your first and last name for me?
Gwen Richards, GwenRichards.
Can you,
Yes. I'm going to not jab your neck. Hopefully.
with the green screen, we usually like the hair as flat as possible because it tends to break up if it's sticking out.
Better?
Yeah, that's good.
Awesome.
Okay, I'm rolling.
All right. So you have also been a part of the Farmington Hillsy Theater for multiple performances. I know you're in Shrek. I think you were in Beauty and the Beast.
Yes, I was.
Well, how is Anna Paints Trees different for you than from the musicals that you've been in?
There's a lot of a smaller cast, and of course there's no music.
And what has that been like working with such a small cast in comparison to some of our 60 and 80% casts?
Feels a lot closer, like we get to actually communicate with each other more than in the larger cast.
And can you tell me about your role? What's the name of the person that you're playing and a little bit about their character?
I play Leif. He doesn't have a last name. He's kind of a loner and a stoner. He has some really funny lines.
What is your favorite scene with Leif?
It's probably the final scene where he comes out as Batman.
Sorry, I didn't know that he came out as Batman, so I was trying not to laugh. That's awesome. Can you talk a little bit more about the relationships that you and the other cast members have been building with each other, both as characters but also as individual preteens and teens?
We, a lot of times during, like, we play a lot of games to interact with each other, like, before we actually block anything or practice the script. And that helps us get to know each other a bit. Some people don't know each other's names because they're always in character.
And what has it been like acting in a performance where there's not another example out there? Nobody's ever played this role before. You can't go look it up online and see how somebody else acted this character out. It's up to you to bring this written character to life.
It's a lot more dynamic. We get to choose, like, what we want our character to be like and come up with things about them that aren't necessarily already in the script. It's kind of interesting because I really like writing characters. And Leif is something I've never really done before.
And so is there anything that you brought to the character that maybe wasn't written as part of the script?
I think he's like a lot more awkward when I play him because I'm very awkward.
And what do you want the audience to know about this performance? You can take a minute to think about it.
I don't know what to say here.
Okay. What do you feel is the key message of the play?
Like, you don't have to be afraid to be who you are. You don't have to change yourself for other people to like you.
And how do you feel that message has impacted you in your personal life?
It's kind of the characters in the play are specifically discriminated against for being gay, which is definitely really prominent and like currently. So it's kind of nice to not to get out of all that drama, and like the characters at the end, they all apologize to each other and they actually they come out and no one cares or really wants to. I don't know.
You did
Sorry.
great. Any other questions?
What has this experience taught you about yourself?
I'm definitely playing something that I normally wouldn't do, and it's really nice for that because I feel like I don't have to be myself.
Do you think it's important for plays and theater and that to take on social issues?
Yes, absolutely.
Could you repeat the question for me, though?
What?
Oh, just repeat the question. Yeah, I feel it's important that plays
Oh.
are given the opportunity to take on social.
Embed, like you have to do.
Okay. I think it's really important that plays take on like current social issues, make people feel less alone, and like reach into things by doing things they love.
How does it make you feel to be a part of that social issue message?
It's really fun, and I'm glad that some people will be able to take things out of this that can impact them.
Great.
Awesome.
Okay, can you spell your first and last name for me?
Aiden for Ada, and then Darwak, Darwak.
So Eden, you came to the Farmington Hills Youth Theater through your participation at summer camps. I remember you from the summer. What has it been like to be a part of a production here?
Well, it's certainly been interesting compared to the compared to at the summer camp. It's been different, especially learning some new things I didn't learn there. And it's pretty fun.
And can you tell us about what role you play and some personalities of the character?
I play Eddie, who is a senior that uses his film status to stalk girls, and is they describe him as very geeky and has like really geeky clothes, stuff like that. And personality-wise, it's kind of, I'd say he's kind of obsessive and very, very stubborn.
And I had a question in my head and then it just popped up.
So what's your favorite scene that you act out in the play?
I'd probably say the one that I'd say the one where I kind of get punched is the stage combat, because that's pretty fun.
So what are some new things that you've learned during this production in terms of like theater practices that you didn't previously know?
I learned some more cheats, some cheats that you can do along with, stage combat, stuff like that. And I learned how much larger, I guess, the scripts are compared to. Not that I expected it to be longer. But
This is kind of a deep question, but I
Yeah.
think you can handle it. Recently, a very famous director said that theater can make us better humans. How do you think that this experience may or may not have made you a better person, or people coming to the show might do that for them?
I've learned more. I understand. I guess I understand more of cooperation and I guess really just showing off. Really, just getting the excuse to kind of show off. I don't know if that would be considered me being a better person, but it's still great.
After this play, are you going to want to do more productions?
Probably. Although probably not ones that are musical, because I'm not particularly interested in it.
And what has been your favorite part so far?
I'd probably say getting the blocked and doing the scenes.
And is there a key message that you hope the audience will take away?
I'd say just that it's okay to be yourself, and it's it's okay to be yourself, and feel free to discover yourself.
Awesome. Thank
You're done.
you.
Okay, could you spell your first and last name for me?
Sure. Ethan Cancula, ETHANKANKULA.
So Ethan, can you just tell me briefly a little bit?
I'm sorry, just a second. I'm going to shut the door.
A little bit about your experience as the assistant teacher of the young playwrights.
The ghost will come by and slam the door. Okay, go ahead.
Your experience as the assistant teacher with the Young Playwrights program.
Yeah, so it's been a great experience. We actually started last February in the playwright class, which I had the privilege of working with Stephen on that as the assistant as well. And with this process, it's been pretty similar in how we always warm up and try to reflect on our days, the day that we've had today, and try to open up a way to start sharing within everybody. The process itself, I think, is a great experience for me. I think also for the kids. They seem to be getting along really great, and the relationships are starting to build, which is always really wonderful.
So you're no stranger to working with kids that are writing their own plays and then performing them.
Mhm.
But this is a little bit different because it was one group of kids that wrote it, and then basically a different group of kids that are acting it. And you're kind of like the continuum. You're kind of the continuous person that's with both of these groups. Can you kind of talk about what that's been like working with the one group and then transitioning to the second group?
Yeah, it's been a challenge. I think working with two different groups that are working on kind of the same story. Usually you'll find that the same group who will write the play will also be the same people that are performing in it. With this, it's been a little bit different in how you've had a group of high school students writing a play that has some younger students in it, which I think was a little bit unexpected. It's also really great because you kind of have a new approach to the way that the actors are approaching the work. Previously, playwrights had already thought through the characters and their emotions and what they were thinking and what they were motivated by and what they wanted, versus these groups of students who have a completely new approach to the process and a new approach to the play. I think it's really great. I think that they're bringing a lot to it. It's kind of the magical thing working with new work and a new play, that you have collaboration of different artists that are all bringing new ideas to it, which is really great.
So even though you were guiding the students with the young playwrights, you were still very much a part of the writing process. So how has it been transitioning to the acting process and seeing how the actors may take the story or the characters and interpret them a little bit differently?
Yeah, so I think on my end, it's really important not to tell the kids what to think, because I've heard stories from the playwrights that may be a little bit different than the approach of the actor. And so I think it's my job to try to challenge the student to think beyond kind of a one point of view standpoint and really think, in terms of the bigger group. So, that's been a process that's been kind of new for me to bridge these two groups together. But I think it comes down to not telling the kids what to think and allowing them to have that exploration that even some of the playwrights may have missed. So, yeah.
How has this experience challenged you?
This experience has challenged me. That's a great question. I think this experience has challenged me because I've never worked with two different groups developing the same play. It's very easy to get comfortable with one group of students, and so I think it's really exciting that I get to work with two different groups of students and have to learn, a whole new range of skills. I think that the kids bring. It's different to work with a high school group and a middle school group, and trying to bond those together has been a very fun challenge, I think.
What have you learned from these kids?
That's a great question. What have I learned from these kids? I feel like I learn things every day. We play a lot of games to warm up ourselves and our voices and our bodies to get into this imagination land of creating. And Monday we played a game, and the idea was that you had to shake hands with somebody and share a new fact. And so these kids are always just sharing new facts. Some things like a Gucci bag costs $1,200. Something I learned from these kids that I would not have known. So they're just filled with all these fun facts, I think. I'm learning all these fun facts that I didn't expect to learn.
So you also teach our summer camps. How has being a part of the Farmington Hills Youth Theater production different than the summer camp experience?
In the summer camp experience, it's interesting because you learn a little bit about a group for a week, and then chances are you don't really get the chance to see them again, at least throughout the rest of the year, until they take a summer camp again. But with this process, I've gotten to get to know these kids a lot better, and I think at a lot deeper level than I have working with the summer camp, because I'm with them, for months at a time, and students go through a lot within those months. And so I think that they're growing a lot being in the program. I think that I'm growing a lot being in the program that I don't really get to experience, in 1 week over the summer. So it's this whole growth thing, I think.
And I'll ask you the same thing I asked all of the cast members. What do you want the audience to take away from this?
I want the audience to take away a new experience, hopefully some different viewpoints than they had before they came into the play. I think that was part of the process of working with these two groups, is exploring different point of views. And so when the audience comes in and sees this play about maybe some of the issues that students are facing, that they might have a different point of view than what they originally had walking through the door to see the play to begin with.
Was it hard for some of the younger middle school actors to tackle a more mature play?
That's what I was worried about, I think, with the casting, of having so many young artists working on this production that was originally written for older students. But I think that the issues that the play deals with are pretty similar along the board to what the students, even though they're in middle school, or even some of the high school students, I think the issues are apparent and that they're still facing the same things, even though they were written by older students. So I'm surprised to see that they were able to tackle it and are tackling it now in such a strong way, because I had imagined that it being, so mature that they might have struggled with some of the language. and some of the issues, but it seems apparent that the students are struggling with those things as well. And so I think that was a thing that I learned for myself, that shouldn't be overlooked, that just because they are in a younger group, that they still have similar issues to the high school students. And the approach that they are given to overcoming those obstacles, I think could be bettered, even though they're younger, that they still should be given the tools that some of the high school students are given to talk to someone and try to overcome those issues.
Do you think for some of the writers this play was a good emotional release?
I definitely think that this play was a great emotional release for all the students, especially the younger kids, because it's almost like they don't get that option. I know in high school that you have an opportunity to join more clubs. You have the opportunity to do theater. In middle school, there's so many middle schools that they have a stage, but the stage is being used for storage, for other desks and chairs and tables, and so the students don't really get that opportunity. I also like to see the younger students working with the older students in this group, because they're almost like a mentor and a mentee. You know, they kind of have that person who's a little bit older that can, talk to them about the things that they're struggling with. I know there's two students in the class, a 16-year-old and a 12-year-old, and the 12-year-old kind of looks up to the 16-year-old, and the 16-year-old texts that person regularly and checks up on them and makes sure that they're doing okay, because I know that they were one of the playwrights that were surrounded by one of these issues and wanted to make that very clear to all of the other kids. And so it seems that even though there seems to be an age gap, everyone is learning from each other and they're getting along really well.
What was it like to work with a professional writer?
Yeah, working with Stephen was great. He brought in so many tools for the students to use. I know a lot of tools that I wasn't even aware of that have helped me in my career as a playwright. And so him coming in, I think, did the city some great justice and meant a lot to the kids. He was also able to gift the kids a book about writing, some strategies and some tools about writing that came from Stephen King. It was a book that Stephen King wrote, and the city had purchased and made a gift to the students. And I know that some of those students have read the book and I think have taken were able to take a lot away from the book and from that experience.
Do you think it's important for the city to step out of the normal plays, nothing against Trek or Beauty and the Beast, and do something that's a little edgy, a little different?
110%. I think community theater is about the community. I oftentimes see community theater do a lot of the Neil Simon plays, and there is a space for that, and that's great. But I really like to see a community doing plays about that community with members from that community, and then sharing that story with the community members, and I think that might open up a tremendous conversation. And I've seen it done, and I think that Farmington is leaning towards that, which I think is really great, because there's so many community theaters that kind of glaze over the fact that it's about the people in the community, and not just about these very popular stories.
Any chance you could do a summary of what you just said, but say Farmington Hills?
Farmington Hills instead of Farmington?
Yeah, because we can't use what you just said.
Oh, no.
Farmington.
Sure, yeah.
Or do this. Just say Farmington Hills.
Farmington Hills.
Say it a little quicker.
Like as if you were just like, blah, 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 Farmington Hills, and he can edit it in.
Sure. Farmington Hills.
You know,
Farmington
say-
Hills.
I'll say, I work for the city of Farmington Hills.
Sure. I work for the city of Farmington Hills.
Perfect. Okay.
I can totally do a quick summary though of what I just said.
Yeah, let's have you do a summary. but
Sure.
I might be able to
Okay.
cut it in.
Yeah, I think community theaters definitely should realize that there is a time and place to do very popular plays, and at the same time, it's also important to give back to the community. And I think that if there's a community theater that did plays about the community, for the community, with members of that community within it, and shared those stories with everybody, it might open up a tremendous conversation. And I think that Farmington Hills is leaning towards that, which I think is really great.
Perfect, cool. I think that's good. Great. I don't have any more questions, Steve.
No.
Okay.
Thank you.
Can you spell your first and last name for me?
My name is Nancy Boyd, and it is spelled Nancyboyd.
I wondered about those wisps.
Oh, I have wisps.
it.
Oh, yeah.
And
What about on
just
this
pat-
side?
Yeah, just pat it down just a little bit. Yep, that's good. Okay, you're ready?
You're new to the Farmington Hills Youth Theater.
I am.
Can you
I've
share
worked.
your experience
Oh,
with-
sorry.
No, that's fine.
I've worked with In the Mitten Productions before, but this is my first time with Farmington, and everything is run so smoothly.
Hills.
Yep. You say
Oh,
Farmington Hills.
sorry.
That's okay.
Everything about Farmington Hills Theater is run so smoothly. Everyone is ready to help at any moment, and it's just been a very positive experience so far.
Great. So what about Anna Paints Trees attracted you?
I love that In the Mitten, can I say In the Mitten, or is it Farmington Hills Youth Theater?
Farmington Hills Youth Theater.
Sorry.
That's okay.
That's what I'm
I
used
know
to.
it's a confusing relationship.
Okay.
But Farmington Hills Youth Theater.
I love that Farmington Hills Youth Theater is starting to produce original works, and especially by young playwrights. It's amazing because who at 12 to 17 has a play that they've written and it's been produced? Like, that's just amazing. And sometimes they'll say, I don't know how much I like this scene, or is this good? I'm like, don't even think about it. The fact that you've done this, there are so many people who want to do what you're doing and just talk about it and never do it. And so I'm really happy that Farmington Hills Youth Theater is giving these people a chance to do that.
So Ethan had the chance to work with both the young playwrights and now this group too. What has it been like working with Ethan, as well as the actors?
Ethan is incredibly knowledgeable of what it takes to take a show from the page to the stage, and I'm very happy to work with him. The playwrights, they are so enthusiastic about everything that's going on. They have this vision, and they really want it to come to life, and they're so open to doing whatever it takes to make that happen, because at the end of the day, they really want this core message of acceptance to be spread to the world.
And can you talk a little bit about the growth that you've seen so far in the actors from beginning to now?
Our actors have grown a lot in different ways, and I've seen that from talking to them, because for some people, they've never been a lead in a show before, and they didn't realize that this was something that they were capable of. So they're seeing things in themselves that they didn't realize were there before, that they can tackle this role and they can be confident, which is amazing. And then in another way, some of our actors are seeing that they have a community here that is there to support them. They feel confident talking to other people in everyday life, so they can bring that kind of confidence that they fake on the stage and then bring it into their own lives and their reality.
So how has participating in this production challenged you? How have the students that are participating challenged you?
This show has challenged me because the last show that I worked on was with 5 to 7-year-olds. So now working with 12 to 17-year-olds, it's definitely challenging because there's telling them something, which you do when they're younger, but now it's telling them why. And it's been amazing because it's more collaborative in this way, because they have their own opinions, they can see things that you don't, and I love that they're part of this whole process, and they're very intelligent, and I am just, it's so rewarding to be with them.
So when the youth come to you with questions on the content or the message, how have you coached them or guided them in exploring that?
I think that the message of this play is not only going to shine through in the actual words and how they act it, but in how our castmates treat each other. And so I've told them that. I've told them that this is an amazing opportunity to use theater and art and something fun for them as a way to change the world in a way. They're 12-year-olds and all the way up to 17 that have a chance to change their community and change their world in a positive way and tell a message. So many people in this age group don't have a voice like this, and they're given that opportunity. And I'm telling them that this is a rare opportunity that I hope they bring into their everyday lives and continue throughout there, is to use theater and the arts as a way to cause change. And it's really exciting to see them realize this, and I'm excited to see where their lives take them from there and what amazing things they do.
And what do you hope the audience will take away?
I hope the audience will take away that teenagers are smarter than they think. They feel a lot more than they think. And I think it's crazy that people go through high school and we grow up and then we seem to forget all of those feelings and those anxieties that happened and really diminish the emotions and thoughts and opinions of these people, of these high schoolers. And I hope that they realize that this play was written about how hard it is to be yourself at this young age and how important it is for the adults in their lives to support them. I rambled, thanks.
No, it's great. It gave us
Thanks
a
for
lot.
staying with me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Did you want to sit in for the last bit of their rehearsal?